So I want to talk about 5 money mistakes that I made in the past that hopefully you can avoid. I don't necessarily regret these things, but had I known what I know now, then I would have been much further along. I would have been much greater in my positioning, I think. I believe so. But mistake number 1 is just taking a job just for how much they pay. I've always been a young, hungry individual. I always wanted to make money. I knew how to make money. I've been a hustler my entire life. So when I was trying to get my feet wet in the job market, I started a job based on what they pay per hour. I didn't look at anything else. I saw they were paying $10 an hour, $15 an hour, $20 an hour. That's cool up front, but I never paid attention to any other thing that they offered, right? I didn't know if they had a benefits plan. I didn't know whatever incentives, compensation packages they have. I didn't know if there was upward mobility, right? I didn't know if there was room for growth. I didn't even know any of these things. I just saw the dollar amount and I said, I'll take that job. I'll take that job, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's always a better way to optimize and maximize your potential at an employer, which is something that I preach now, right? Get more from your job than just a paycheck. Get more from your job than just a paycheck. Yes, you go there, you trade your time for money and you get paid, but there also may be other things that you can learn while you're on the job. You can look up, down, left, right. You can look all around you. There's multiple departments within an employer, right? Anywhere you go, there's multiple departments. So if you want to learn what Joe is doing over here, pay attention to Joe. Go talk to Joe. Go learn from Joe. If you want to pay attention to what April is doing over here in HR, go up there and talk to April. She is your HR rep, by the way. So it's an open door policy with them where you can go talk and learn and all of those things. If you're a corporate attorney just so happens to be in that same office, go in there and have some conversations with her and learn on the job, right? You're there anyway. That's something I didn't grasp the concept of until I was on my way out of said employer, which was my previous employer. Was there for 10 years and I kind of slow rolled it. I was young when I started. I was 20 years old. So it's like I didn't know much at 20. I still don't know a whole lot at 34, but I know to optimize my potential at an employer these days. Another mistake I made was not budgeting sooner. Now, budgeting is boring. When you hear budgeting, you think of broke, you think of restricted. A budget does not restrict you. It gives you permission to spend. I say it all the time, but I didn't start budgeting until my late 20s, and I didn't get really good at it until I was just about 30, which is crazy. I made my very first budget at 27 years old. Now, budgeting can be as extreme or as easy and simple as you make it, but it must be done, which is listing everything out. That's it. Writing things down, listing them out, whether you type them in a spreadsheet, whether you use a budgeting app, or whether you just write it down on paper, but your budget must be accounted for. Everything that you spend money on, you have to write it down, right? Every expense you have and whatever you have left over, that lets you know what you can actually do, with your leftover money, right? Whether you want to save it, invest it, blow it, whatever you want to do, you can do that, but you know you have that money left over because your budget tells you that. When I didn't have a budget, I was overdrafting all the time. When I didn't have a budget, I didn't know where I was going to get the extra money that I needed to pay certain bills because I had overdrawn accounts. I was spending more than I had, and I was just going into the negative so frequently to the point where I was scratching my head, when in reality, if I just had my budget, if I just knew and seen exactly where my money was going, I would have been able to avoid so many overdrafts. I would have been able to avoid getting my bank account shut down due to having so many overdrafts, right? That's why I went without a bank account for so many years, because the one bank I was banking with, they saw I was making so many mistakes and overdrafting so much that they shut me down completely. I had to be unbanked for about 4 years. 4 years until I got my act together. But that's why I say budgeting is important. It just allows you to see things. It gives you clarity. And it lets you know what you can and can't do. That's it. What you can and can't do. And if you can't do something, it is what it is. But what you can do is what you should focus on. What your money allows you to do, what your budget allows you to do, is what you should focus on. Now, this mistake gonna be left field seeming. It's gonna seem left field, but it's real. And y'all know I always gotta keep it a buck, but I focus too much on women and extracurricular than I did making money. I'm gonna say that again. I focus way too much on women and extracurricular activities than I did making money, to the point where when I actually got into a relationship, it was crumbling, right? It was crumbling before it could officially start because I was so broke. I was so broke, right? I was banking on my charm, banking on the fact that I'm 6'1", I'm in physical shape, I'm handsome, right? I'm easy on the eyes, I'm charismatic, I'm funny. I was using my personality on the dating scene when in reality, you need money to date. I don't know if anybody ever told you that. And I knew this, but it's still like, I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit. You need money to date. It costs money to date, right? Transportation to get there, whatever activities y'all are gonna do, whatever you're gonna spend money on that date, you need money to date. And it's no fun when you're trying to penny pinch a date. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is, where you're going. When you're trying to figure out like, damn, can I afford this? Or instead of focusing on my bag, which would have made dating a lot easier for me, I just wanted to get to date. I just wanted to get to date, man. I just wanted to hang out with her. I just wanted to chill with this girl, go to this place, and it hindered me a little bit. But I learned from it. Again, these are all mistakes, but they're disguised as lessons, right? They're lessons disguised as mistakes, I would say. But I got with my now wife, and I was so broke and it didn't make no sense. The first couple of dates was easy, it was cheap, I made it look good. But once we moved together and all of the curtains came down, it was like, damn, she could see my whole situation. So I can't lie about anything, I can't hide anything, and you know, the truth just comes out. And it's much different being a responsible adult in a relationship than it is when you're young and living with your parents. You don't have many bills and responsibilities. Then when you get together, it's like a shock almost. You're like a fish out of water. And if you had your money right, if your bag was where it needed to be, you wouldn't have all these issues going on. Because most relationships, the issues come from financial problems, right? Financial problems, those are the only issues I've ever had in my relationship. It's like, damn, when you gonna meet me halfway? Or damn, how come I gotta do everything XYZ? That's where I was. I'm super vocal about that, and it took me a while to get to that point where now I am holding my own weight. Now I can take care of my entire family with what I'm doing. Like if I wanted to solely be the breadwinner, I could be that. If my wife wanted to, like both of us make a substantial income to the point where if she lost her job, we'd be good. If I lost my job, we'd be good. It doesn't matter because both of us have our heads on straight. Hers always been on straight, but I got my head on straight now. And I would say getting your money right before joining the dating scene or getting out there on the market trying to be serious with anybody is more important, right? So focus on you, focus on your bag, your purpose, and then focus on a significant other. This goes for men and women. You also want to have some type of direction too. Let me add that. You want to actually know where you're going. So even if you're not there, there's a potential for you to be somewhat stable or make a livable income or a substantial amount of money, right? Excessive amount of money, which is where I'm heading. That's always the goal for me. But that's the name of the game. Make sure you have some purpose, some direction. You know where you're going regardless if you're there or not, but have some type of potential foundation that you can see the timeline. Fourth mistake I made that I will advise avoiding if you can, right? I started networking too soon, and I also started networking without a purpose. So networking is super crucial. It's super important and key. It's something I do all the time. Every day, all day, I'm networking now, but I network for a purpose. There's a reason behind me networking. In the past, I used to network very, very selfishly, and people don't talk about this. When you hear networking, you hear seeing somebody or being in a group of people who has something that you want. So you're going to them to get something from them without even thinking about what you can offer in return. That's the wrong way to network, in my opinion. And I used to do that a lot in the past. It ended up in nothing. It literally transpired into negative returns, lost communication. It was like spinning your wheels running on a treadmill, because for one, who in their right mind is going to spend their time, or waste their time rather, to give you something without getting something in return? Most people say, oh, can I take you out to lunch, or can I buy you a coffee, and then if I could pick your brain. Like, first of all, nobody wants their brain picked. Second of all, a person who you're looking up to, who you're reaching out to, who you deem more valuable, who have something of value versus what you have to offer, they can get their own coffee, right? And they don't want their brain picked by you. It's just a rookie move to go to somebody and try to get something from them without offering something in return. So these days, whenever I'm networking, I know for a fact I have something to offer. I have some leverage. I have some skin in the game. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've built a couple things to the point where I have something to offer, where it wouldn't be a waste of time if I was to reach out to somebody and say, hey, teach me how to do X, Y, and Z, or can you show me this person, or can you send me leads here, send me leads there. It's so many ways to network. It's so many reasons you will want to reach out to somebody, but just always keep in mind, never reach out until you're actually ready. Don't waste anybody's time. Just know where you're at in your personal journey. Know where you're at, because wasted time is the worst thing in the world to me, because time is finite. We don't have an unlimited amount amount of time. So it's best to maximize it and also help other people maximize their time too. That's what it's about. You get what you give in most cases. My fifth and final biggest money mistake, right? These are lessons. These are lessons disguised as mistakes, right? Because you should be learning from every mistake of your past. This is why I'm sharing it, because all the mistakes I've made, I've absolutely learned from them, and I learned how to do them better. I learned how to actually make these things work in my favor versus work against me. And the fifth mistake I made was not fully understanding or comprehending compound interest, or just the compound effect in general. So you hear this all the time, compound interest. People screaming from the mountaintops, right? Compound this, compound that. For instance, compounding is literally something stacking on top of the next, and till it just grows exponentially, because you have stacked so many of whatever that thing is that it just blows up on its own. But it is not by happenstance. Like, that growth and that explosion happens by consistency. It happens through consistency, doing the same thing over and over. Like, you can have compounding negative effects, right? You can have compounding working for or against you. Now, I look at my YouTube channel like that. It's certain people who follow me, who are subscribed to me, who's been, locked in and tapped into what I've been doing. But I also realized that I've been on YouTube for 4 years now, which is crazy. I've recorded and released over 200 videos. So I have a library of content that has compounded over the years. So if somebody stumbles upon a video, they have 200 other videos that they can watch, right? Same thing with investing. Invest $1, invest $5, invest $10, you got $16. The more you invest, the more it grows. And though it's just $1 to some people, or just $5 or just $10, every little bit counts. It all adds up. I'm big on it. Y'all know that I'm big on adding things up over time and consistently. Same thing with dieting or exercise, right? The more consistent you are with something, the better you get at it and the more it grows. So compounding, understanding compounding, not realizing how interest rates are attached to certain things. I didn't think about that when I took out my student loan. Like, I knew that we would have to pay the loan back, whatever that amount was, but I didn't realize there was an interest rate attached to it, right? That was something that I was just completely naive to. So I took out $16,000, and the fact that I couldn't pay them back right away, that interest was just compounding and compounding and compounding to the point where that $16,000 turned into $29,000, and I still had to pay all of that back. That was an eye-opener for me, and I didn't learn that until 2016. I was about 26 years old. Everything you finance or everything that you buy, right? Because personal loans can have interest attached to them, whatever you decide to work out with the person you take a personal loan from, or if you just go through a bank. But paying attention to that interest rate and understanding how rapid it can compound to hurt you, and paying attention to investments, right? If you're doing any type of stock market investing, let's say you put $10 in and then it magically grows into $30 without you putting another dollar in there, you're confused on how that happened, when in reality, investments are designed to yield a return. They're designed to yield a return. That's why these days when I make my investments, I already know, based on the research and due diligence that I've done, that this should garner me a specified return. It's not a guaranteed return, because no investments are guaranteed, but historically this thing may garner an 8 to 10% return. We're talking S&P, we're talking index funds, for instance, because I'm heavy on the index funds. But just understanding and learning that sooner, and this goes with any type of investment in any asset class, there should be a rate of return attached to it, and it's better to learn that sooner than later. Like this video if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, also follow me on IG, Q Makes It Happen on Instagram. Go show your boy some love. And lastly, if you would like to become a member of the Q Crew, click the join button down below, become a member of my accountability group, where you'll get more one-on-one from me, exclusive content, and it's also a way to support the channel. I go by the name of Q, and like I always say, if Q can make it happen, you can make it happen. I'll let y'all next video. Peace.